Hey, how's she going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's workshop. Well, boys, I went and did it. Yeah. Today we bought the Sanborn 20-gallon compressor. The snap-on, like I was saying in my previous video there, and I'll put a link down below for that video, the snap-on just wasn't worth repairing anymore. So we went to town today and we bought the Sanborn. It's a 5.5 CFM at 90 psi compressor. It's a cast iron V-twin piston pump assembly with a 1.6 horsepower electric motor. It's a horizontal mount. It seems to be pretty nice from what I've seen in the pictures. So let's go set it up, see what it looks like in real life. Sanborn air compressor. Let's open it up. It doesn't look too bad so far. Okay, the wheels, they just go on here on the end with these shoulder bolts. So they just go through there. And then there's a washer and a nylock nut that holds them on. Installing the handle seems to be pretty straightforward. And then there was 2 grub screws came with it, and they just go in the side here. And one on the back side here. And then we just tighten up with an Allen key. The handle rocks back and forth a little, but I don't expect to be using the handle a whole lot. I need to put the air filters in. So the air filters are just little units like this, and the tops twist off them to reveal a paper filter cartridge. Okay, so one for each cylinder. Just tighten these in here, kind of half inch tight. You don't want them singing tight, I don't imagine. One thing, my snap-on compressor that I had that failed on me, right? I was concerned about the tank. I see on this tank there's a label on it, and it's a certification label because this is a pressure vessel. So that's nice to see that there's an actual label on it. Alright, there's the drain right there. It's a nice drain on-off switch on it. There's even a little air in it, look at that. But the other nice thing about this drain, the way it's set up, it goes into a 2-inch bung in the bottom of the tank. So if the tank ever gets to the point where I'm concerned about its condition, I can always take that bung right out, and that gives me a nice 2-inch aperture there where I can look into the tank and do a good visual inspection without having to rely on my endoscope. So I like that. For a horizontal tank, it's going to take some getting used to, because in my mind I'm thinking horizontal tanks maybe aren't as good as vertical tanks. But anyways, we'll see how that goes. It's a cast iron compressor and cast aluminum finned heads on it. It's got twin stainless steel reed valves in each cylinder. And it's a V-twin cylinder, and those cylinders look to be, I don't know, 2 inches in diameter maybe. I'm just guessing. The thing that failed on my snap-on compressor, that really was the turning point of what I'm going to do to replace the compressor, was the check valve. So here, this piston on the right hand side pumps across this connector tube to here, and it comes out through this aluminum line down here, and this is the check valve down in here. It's a different looking check valve that goes straight into the tank, and then there's the pilot valve comes off the right hand side of it and goes to the pressure switch, and that again is aluminum line. But where my other one looked like it was cast, and well, as you saw, it had very thin walls because they broke right off it. This is a total fitting, like the nut of the body, or the main body of that check valve is all nut. The nut is turned right on it, so it looks like that's a good, solid, thick check valve, so I like to see that. Also, that goes into a 2-inch bung on top of the tank. So, like I was saying, with the drain underneath, you can take that 2-inch bung out and get a good visual inspection of the tank. You could do the same thing up here. Take this 2-inch bung out, get a good visual inspection. Nice area there to work on. And it looks like it's a nice flat, clean deck here. It might be easier to keep it clean and whatnot. Okay, there's also a fan on the pulley for the crankcase back here. The fan blades on that tend to blow air over the compressor to keep it cool, or cooler. I don't know that it'll keep it cool. The electric motor, it's a 3450, which surprised me. I thought it would be 1800, but it's 3450. It's got a thermal reset here. It's a single phase 120 or 220. It says here that its duty cycle is continuous. So, you know, it should be able to run continuous and pump, but that's not a good way to run your compressor. You should run your compressor so that it can catch up to the demand and shut off. But anyways, we'll see how that goes. And then there's wiring diagrams on here for the low voltage connection and the high voltage connection. The other thing about this, it's a drip proof motor. It's open at the bottom here, but it is air cooled. The onboard fan of the motor tends to cool the motor. And it's an induction start, it's a capacitor start induction run motor, so the starting torque should be decent on it. And it should have no problem running this compressor. The other thing I want to talk about is the controls, the regulator and the outlet. On this compressor, there's a regulator that has off and auto. So the off, of course, isolates the power from the motor totally. When you turn it to auto, then the regulator takes over. But then there's a tank gauge here, okay? So that measures the tank pressure. So they're saying that the tank can take 135 pounds. And I think the regulator probably runs to 120, so we should see that around 120 when we're running. And then the outlet of the regulator comes to this, it's an actual regulator, so we can adjust the air pressure on this anywhere from 120 on down, I expect. I'll probably run this around 90. That's where I like to run the tools, between 90 and 100. Okay, and then there's a quick coupler on the end here. Also mounted on this, there is a pressure relief valve for the tank. If too much pressure builds up in the tank, this will pop off. So here's the oil that came with the compressor. It's just air compressor oil, doesn't say much about it. It says don't ingest, made in China. Anyway, but on here on the side of the tank, it gives some specifications. It says SAE 30 non-detergent synthetic oil. So we're going to add oil until we get halfway up that sight glass there. The oil is clear for the most part. There was 11.35 fluid ounces in it. Whoopsie. So you can see the oil just coming up there now, just a little bit above the circle. So that's going to do me. So FYI, it takes 11 ounces to fill this beast. So we'll put this back in. Alright, we've got oil in it. I checked all the fasteners. They suggest in the manual that you check them, make sure they're all tight. They seem good and tight to me. The motor is plugged in, it's reset. The regulator is turned off. One of the things I want you to do in the startup is run it for 30 minutes to seat the rings and the pistons. So what I'm going to do is open the drain valve in the bottom so that the tank won't build up pressure. And we'll just let this run. It's 5 after right now, so we'll just let her go for a bit. Will I open up the drain valve here? Okay. Here's the first start of my new compressor. Cover your eyes. Okay, my first thought right off the bat is it's loud, but it's not noisy, if you know what I mean. The other compressor I had, my Snap-on, it was really noisy. There was a loud, cutting, sharp noise to it when it was running. And that was normal for a direct couple compressor like that. Where this is a belt drive compressor, it's not as noisy. But anyway, it's still loud. Like, I wouldn't want to have to talk to somebody when this is running. So we're going to let this go for, I don't know, 20-30 minutes, see what happens. Okay, it's been running for just about 30 minutes. So I'm going to shut it off, close the petcock, and then we'll start it up and see how long it takes to shut off. So let's see how long it takes. Okay, just shut off. Shuts off about 140. That's kind of high for me, but I guess that's where it shuts off. And that took just about 4 minutes. Well, there's my new compressor. What do you think of that? Let me know in the comments what you think of my new compressor. I think it's 1.5 miles ahead of the old Snap-on compressor, and it's a well-built compressor. You know, I think that configuration of the cast iron V-twin pump, I think that's a proven winner when it comes to compressors. You know, for a medium-duty DIY shop compressor, I think this is the answer. So if you're thinking about getting a compressor, I hope maybe you saw something in this video that would help you make up your mind, either this one or the one before, where I was talking about the problems I had with my old Snap-on compressor. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks a lot for dropping by. I hope to see you again. And for everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to leave some comments, thumbs up me. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.